Hey guys, Eric and Joshua here. We're going to talk about our first impressions of the Supergirl pilot.
Yes.
Let me get a little spiel out of the way here at the top, though. A few things here, which is, yes, we know it's leaked. We waited, we hadn't seen it, and we didn't talk about it until now because CBS has now posted it on their press site. So that's why you're now getting our first impression. And then the other thing being that they always say when they set out these early pilots, we're not doing a full review of it. You won't find a full review on the site yet. And that's because it's several months before the show's debuting. They might actually tweak the pilot. Sometimes little things happen, sometimes big things happen. So don't look for the full review yet. That being said, we are going to give our impressions here without full spoilers if you haven't seen it. So Joshua, there was a lot of talk about this show. The trailer came out. There was a lot of people having some issues with that. What did you think now that you've seen the
Yeah, a lot of people were comparing it to the SNL skit for the Black Widow parody trailer. But it's not like that at all. Obviously, there's a lot of romantic comedy kind of elements in the trailer that we got, but the actual show was it was super.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a lot of fun to watch. It hit the superhero story beats really strong. I really felt a lot of emotions watching her fly around and stuff and learning to use her powers. And just she herself, like Melissa Benoist's Supergirl, is just very watchable, and she looks great in the costume, and she sells it, and she's got a great attitude and I want to see more. So.
I liked it a lot too, and yeah, that trailer. It's like, yeah, that was for advertisers really, and so they were trying to sell everything about the show. You watch that pilot, and yeah, I think every romance beat that is in the entire pilot is in that trailer, because that's not what the story is about. It's a TV show, there'll be romance storylines, but that's not what the focus of her story is. And yeah, I would say I'd kind of put this in the middle when comparing it to, and it's hard not to, the Flash and the Arrow pilots, because it's all three, Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg. So the Flash was just totally nailed it. I don't think this was quite as strong, but I still liked it a lot. And what you said about her, I mean, she is so likable and very similar to Grant Gustin. You're just very endearing. You like spending time with them in and out of the costume. And so there was some clunkiness, I thought, it being a pilot, but overall, I look forward to seeing more of her adventures going forward.
And you definitely hit it on the nose when he said that it's very much like the Flash pilot in that, it starts with, I think you pointed out to me earlier, it's like, my name is Kara Zor-El, and blah, 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 the narration and everything. But I think that it worked pretty well. And even ended on a big cliffhanger. We don't talk about what it was. The cliffhanger didn't really work for me. So the writing was a little awkward. If they were going to go back and shoot a scene again, I think I would choose that one. And another sort of element of the pilot that I really liked was just her superhero journey of finding a reason to need Supergirl in a world with Superman in it. Why do you need her at all? They've really answered that question, and I was on board. I really liked it.
I hope that, and I think there will be a little more explaining why she waited this long. We definitely get some explanation of why she never until now used her powers. But
because her sister didn't get in a fiery plane crash.
And because her sister didn't get into a fiery plane crash, and she didn't care about those other people.
Every disaster for her entire life. She's like, no, tornado.
Yeah. But that being said, it was, those moments are really strong as far as her, and she does embrace it. There is her sort of joy in embracing who she is.
Yes.
That's a great touch in it.
This isn't Man of Steel.
No,
she's
not
not
at all.
dour.
Yeah. She's not there is no there's no maybe I should, even though we're joking about it, she's still like maybe I should let those kids die.
Yeah.
But I will say, this is an important show because it really is true. We've had so many superhero stories in the past few years in TV and movies. This is the first female-centric one with superpowers, because there is Agent Carter and there's some great characters on S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, and an Arrow that fight crime. But as far as the lead superpowered character, this is kind of it. And I think that's great, and she's really likable in that. I did think that they kind of hit that on the nose a little hard. They're very, very direct. I wish they kind of just let her be Supergirl and she's awesome. They kind of had to, really hit home the fact that there's some of the sexism she's facing.
Yes.
It was a little, I think they could have dialed back on that.
A lot of it was they were talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And I could see the urge to do that, want to address that up front, but also, maybe you don't need to that. Maybe just deliver a really good story where you don't go into those things so directly.
Yeah. And the only other real issue I had with it, beyond the basic, it's a pilot, so there's a lot of exposition and such. A lot of pilots are clunky because that's just how they are. The Hank Henshaw character, who, if you've seen the trailer, you see as kind of this authority figure, and there's stuff going on with aliens. He is very one note initially, and even though obviously you can see things changing down the line, it was a little much as far as like he's supposed to be kind of a hostile force to her. And sometimes I was rolling my eyes a little bit at him because it was like, okay, we get it. You don't like her.
Yes, yeah. There's sort of anti-alien sentiment going on there, but you get the idea that maybe the public might be feeling that way, but it was really all focused into one character,
right?
You're different, and I'm going to treat you differently, and I don't like you, just for these like reasons that don't really even have to do with you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, that all being said, I'm very hopeful for this show, and again, I mean, after The Flash, I think there's a lot of reason to be hopeful for the next big superhero show from these guys. You know?
There's a lot of promise in this show.
Yeah.
She's using like her superpowers in full costume in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like they establish her whole character, which is great. Although blue heat beams, what's up with that?
I thought it was fun for a different. I mean, I know it's one of those things where I can see both sides of it. I can see like, why are you just changing for change's sake? But
they look cool.
They look cool.
So I'm not complaining.
Why not?
It's sort of weird. Yeah.
Blue is the new red.
Yeah.
So that is our first impressions of Supergirl. We'll have plenty more coming up. Again, the show doesn't premiere until November. So there'll be a lot more to learn about this show, and we'll see as we start to see more footage as they start filming more episodes. But for plenty more Supergirl and all things comic book adaptations, keep it here at IGN.